our story for today. I hope you like it. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and press like. Jeffrey was born on May 21st, 1960 in the city of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. He was the first son of his mother, Joyce Annette, and his father, Lionel Herbert Dahmer. Although many testimonies described him in his childhood as a child, active and happy, however, most of them agreed on the fact that he was a child deprived of emotion. His father was absent most of the time from home due to his studies and work, and his mother suffered from obsessive-compulsive disorder and chronic depression, which made her always greedy for more attention to her, to the point that she attempted suicide one day. Therefore, amidst this home environment in which alienation was growing, the child Jeffrey did not receive the required attention that would encourage him to develop properly psychologically. Thus, from the early years of his life, Jeffrey showed a noticeable interest in dead animals. It is said that this interest began at the age of 4, when he watched his father by removing dead animal bones from under their house. And since that time, Jeffrey has been fascinated by animal bones, and always seeks to discover and find them, whether in dead or living animals. Since that time, Jeffrey has been controlled by urgent desires to collect dead animals and mummify them, and this continued with him throughout his childhood years until he reached adolescence, at which point he showed a frightening interest in drinking alcohol. When Jeffrey reached puberty, he discovered his sexual desire for men. Of course, he did not tell any of his parents, and he began to have a relationship without sexual interaction with one of his teenage friends. From here, Jeffrey's personality began to take a dangerous turn, as he began to imagine himself in a lustful way as he controlled and conquered a completely submissive male in a sexual relationship. Then the matter quickly developed, and Jeffrey found himself wanting to have sex with a male body after killing and dissecting it. At the age of 16, his first attempts were to kidnap an unknown man, but they failed. His crimes. Jeffrey committed his first crime in 1978. Weeks after his graduation, during one of his trips, he met a 19-year-old man named Mark Hicks. Jeffrey wanted to have sex with him, so he invited him to his house, where they would spend some time drinking and listening to music. However, according to Jeffrey's confessions, Mark began talking about women and girls, so he realized that his attempts to woo Mark sexually would fail, so he decided to knock him unconscious by hitting him with an iron weight from behind, then suffocating him to death, so Jeffrey began sexually assaulting him while he was a dead body. Then Jeffrey got up after having sex. Jeffrey joined the army, but was soon expelled from it due to his addiction to alcohol, and since then he has lived a pathetic life. In Miami, he works through a humble job, from which he spends all his salary on alcohol, before he decides to return to his father's house and also return to his crimes. On November 20th, 1987, while he was living at his grandmother's house, Jeffrey met a 25-year-old young man, Stephen Tommy, in a bar. There, Jeffrey convinced him to go together to a room he had rented in a hotel in Milwaukee. According to his confessions, Jeffrey did not want to kill Stephen, but he intended to drug him and harass him while he was unconscious. But the next day Jeffrey woke up next to Stephen, whose chest was a bloody hole. According to what he said in the investigations, Jeffrey did not know the truth of what happened, nor how he by killing Stephen, he said. I couldn't believe what happened then. But what Jeffrey did with Stephen's body after that was horror straight out of horror movies. In order to get rid of the body, he cut it into small parts and then disposed of it in the trash, but he kept Stephen's head and did not get rid of it. Then, 2 weeks after his crime, he boiled Stephen's head in chemicals, seeking to preserve the skull so he could use it in his sexual practices, but his attempts failed, and he quickly got rid of it as well. After his crime with Stephen, Jeffrey's activity began to increase significantly, and he began constantly searching gay bars. And as soon as he found an ideal victim, he lured her to his grandmother's house, where he drugged her and then sexually assaulted her before killing her through strangulation. In the end, Jeffrey killed about 17 men and boys between 1978 and 1991, and his crimes included all kinds of atrocities from dissecting and having sex with corpses and devouring human flesh, until his name cracked among the United States as a cannibal in Milwaukee. Arrest him. On July 22, 1991, his latest victim, Tracy Edward, successfully escaped from his grasp before fighting off police officers in the street as he ran aimlessly. Tracy told the 2 officers everything that had happened, and that Jeffrey had tried to kill him. Tracy led the 2 officers to Jeffrey's apartment where he had sex. His crimes. And there he met Jeffrey Tracy and the 2 officers who searched the apartment to find his crime weapons and pictures of decomposed human parts. It should be clearly highlighted to see what Jeffrey Dahmer really did to his victims. In 1992, after his full confession of all his crimes, he was sentenced to 15 life sentences, with a total of 957 years, after psychiatry declared that Jeffrey was completely sane, and that he committed his crimes with all his will. And at that time Jeffrey told the court the following: I never wanted freedom, and to be honestly I wanted to die for myself. I know I am sick or evil or maybe both. The doctors told me about my illness, and now I feel some peace. I know how much pain I caused the victims, and I feel bad about the hurt I caused their poor families. But Jeffrey did not live long after his trial. In 1994, he was killed by another prisoner named Christopher Scarver, who hit him on the head with a metal rod. And after 20 years, and in an article for the New York Post in 2015, Christopher told reporters the following: some people regret what they have done in prison, and he was not one of them.